we're going to talk about Saturn, specifically your Saturn return and what house it's in. What does it mean? My Saturn is in the 3rd house. Make sure you get your own natal chart. I'll post some links below so that you can find out what house your Saturn is in, and this video will make a whole lot more sense to you because you'll be able to say, so that's what it means. So for those of you who are new to astrology and don't even know what Saturn return is, make sure you watch my video on Saturn returns because I go into my experience with them and I also talk about what they mean and other stuff. So that might be really helpful. Your Saturn placement is going to say a lot about you and how you put your foot down, and also how you respect yourself. Do you even respect yourself? How do you show it? So for example, my Saturn is on the cusp of Aquarius and Pisces, and it's in the 3rd house. If your Saturn is also in Aquarius and Pisces or on the 3rd house, make sure you check out that video on Saturn returns because I talk about what that means. As a reminder, they occur every 29 years, give or take. So at the ages of 27 to 31, you'll experience your first Saturn return. Then at the ages of 56 to 60 years old, you'll experience your second Saturn return. And then between the ages of 84 and 90, you will experience your 3rd Saturn return. When Saturn returns, it is an extremely pivotal moment for you in your life. It's like a cosmic rite of passage. And depending on its location in your chart, it will manifest differently. And today we're going to look at how your Saturn return can manifest in your chart based on the house it's located in. So if you're watching this and you are in between Saturn returns, this is a good way to reflect and maybe prepare for the next one because like I said, there are 3. You're not over it, most likely. There's going to be another one. Please keep in mind that it's very difficult to read something like this by itself. So make sure you look at the other placements when you're reading your chart as well. 7th house, the house of open enemies and partnerships and marriage and relationships. Saturn is a karmic planet, so a lot of past relationship energy can resurface during this time. It can mean they go through a heartbreak during this time as a result of unresolved conflict from the past. It can be very chaotic and messy. And of course, which sign your Saturn is in will definitely influence how things go and what kind of partnership and all that. During a Saturn return in the 7th house, they might feel like they have to make a decision about someone they're with or choose someone. They might be faced with relationship responsibilities, whether they like it or not. However, like I said, it's a karmic planet. So if in their 20s, they were kind in their relationships and they did things in a mature way, they might feel positive effects during their Saturn return. It might reward them in a way. There also might be a desire to be in a more mature relationship. That could also be choosing to be with themselves instead, or choosing to be with someone who's very mature and who has their shit together. It might just mean not being with someone who isn't on the same page anymore. Now, people with this placement tend to crave commitment, but find it even more challenging during their Saturn return. They'll also learn so many valuable lessons about communicating in a relationship or being open with your partner and transparent about their needs. They might try to stand up to an enemy during this time, or they might try to relate to someone who they really don't like. They'll also be faced with friendships. I have no idea what I'm doing with this hand. Should they walk away from someone that they've known forever or work on things with them? This might be their time to make true friends. They may resist making the first move during their Saturn return. They want to be there for someone even if it's hard. For some of them, it's all about learning to embrace being single and actually being okay with being alone. They may actually have to be more independent. That might be their challenge. Letting people in might be an obstacle for them. They value their commitments. So when others take that for granted, it can really rub them the wrong way. They might look at why they feel the way they do about intimacy and connection. It could be something they need to explore in therapy. They might struggle with being too critical of others during their Saturn return. They might have a tendency to overcommit and spread themselves too thin when it comes to those around them. And they need to accept their own limits and learn what they are. They need to learn to manage their energy better. Like, don't just say yes to something or commit to something because you can, or for whatever reason. They have to be careful what they agree to and what they say yes to. Learning to say no can be a major life lesson. Embracing honesty might also be a major lesson that they have to learn during this time. And really remaining true to themselves in partnerships. And it's not all about like romantic relationships. It can also be like business partnerships or friendships, platonic relationships, situationships. It's all about finding that balance between vulnerability and confidence. Dating is not easy for them. I've had a lot of people ask me if their Saturn in their 7th house means that they'll never find love or that they're doomed. No, of course not. Of course not. Does it mean that certain lessons must be learned in that area? Does it mean that they might face more challenges in that area? Yeah, but in no way does that mean that you're never going to have love or that it's always going to be a lonely road for you. There might be a lot more times when you find yourself alone, for sure, because wherever Saturn is in your chart, it means that it's a place where you are going to have to learn to be alone. Like, you're going to have to learn to own it and, kind of like make it your own. And I feel like for people with Saturn in the 7th house, depending on their other placements, of course, it's going to be a journey for them. It's their journey, but it doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It may feel like they tend to pursue the wrong people. Really focusing on themselves is super important during the Saturn return. Nurturing themselves and not relying on other people to do that for them. They need to learn how to take care of their own needs and not actually need someone else to do it for them. They need to work on who they commit to and how they go about it during this time. Also, this is the time for proposals or marriage or committed relationships, but also divorce, broken promises. It can really go either way. It's really up to you. Your Saturn in the 7th house doesn't determine how your relationship is going to go. You do. Always remember that, okay? Thank you so much for watching, guys. Let me know if you have any questions in the comment section below. Remember, read everything together. Get your chart. It's beautiful. It all works together so beautifully. And if you like my content, please subscribe. Toodaloo.